I passed my doctoral defense. Hello, good people. I am Crystal Keys, and welcome to Workplace Keys to Success, a channel that brings you an unfiltered, no-nonsense approach to surviving workplace bullying. Listen, I know it has been a while, but I have been hard at work on completing my doctoral journey. I received a unanimous approval from the dissertation board. My dissertation title is The Correlation Between Workplace Bullying, Leader Narcissistic Tendencies, and Organizational Culture. I officially received my doctorate in education, organizational, and leadership development from the Grand Canyon University. Another great accomplishment, we just passed our 1-year anniversary for Workplace Keys to Success, being on several social media platforms. I have been providing you with great research and results from others as well as myself. Our first episode was workplace bullying. And then I went into a 2-part series of workplace bullying and my story. I told my story as the bystander and as a target of workplace bullying. Next came our number 1 episode. Why are you the target of workplace bullying? Daily employees across the globe incur workplace bullying. This phenomenon of workplace bullying is an increasing problem affecting individuals across all social work environments. So we talked about if employees have experienced workplace bullying and they're wondering why. We went through some of the reasons why we are targets, and we informed the targets that they are not alone. So valuable information was shared during this episode. Again, this ranked the number 1 episode. Next, we followed up with workplace bullying and the megalomaniac. That's right, that pesky megalomaniac. Then we talked about why bullies are so mean. Next was workplace bullies are empathetic. Contrary to what some believe, they are empathetic. They just manipulate the empathetic situation or circumstances on their behalf. Well, next we followed up with who's the bully? Sometimes it's hard to tell because that bully acts like they're the victim. Next was bullies are fake, workplace bullying, and their wolf pack. Then we followed it up with witness to workplace bullying, do something about it. Now, one of my favorites, workplace bullying and COVID-19. This is one of my favorites because it provides a lot of information. It's where I begin to walk through the measures of mitigating and eliminating workplace bullying. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we saw an increase in the workplace bullying incidences. Now, you would think because of a pandemic, people would be more sympathetic, but that was not the case. Well, we followed it up with workplace bullying and health impacts. Next, we talked about workplace bullying and charismatic considerations. Another favorite of mine, workplace bullying and the scapegoat. Now, I followed that up with no trolling. The reason why I did this episode is because we begin to see trollers attacking or coming after my subscribers and me, but more importantly, my subscribers. And so we wanted to make sure we nip that in the bud, that we put a stop to that. Next, we talked about workplace bullying and the social identity. So a lot of times within research, you have to base it on a theoretical foundation. Well, my research is based on the social identity theory. So I go a little bit into what that's all about. Next, we talked about workplace bullying and leader narcissistic tendencies. We followed it up with workplace bullying and true grit. So in the face of workplace bullying, we're not just supposed to lay and wallow or think that workplace bullying is going away. It is not. So I give us some behaviors, some activities we can do to gain that true grit so we can face the workplace bullying in front of us and do something about it. Now, we had a lot of questions to come in. How do I know that my boss is a narcissist? Well, we talked about it. Is my boss a narcissist? Next, we followed it up with workplace bullying and the stonewaller. Next, we had a live YouTube podcast with our guest speaker, Fran Futrell, a licensed professional counselor, speaking to us from the aspect of gaining counseling, seeking counseling for workplace bullying as the target or the bystander, just for processing, for talking it through, so then we can know what next steps we should take. We followed that up with nosy coworkers. Then we talked about from chocolate cake to the narcissistic discard. I don't know if you've ever dealt with a narcissistic boss, but it can be so confusing what to do, what to say next, because they discard you. So they lift you up and then they discard you. So next we talked about workplace bullying and mentoring. Mentoring not only for the target, for the bystander, but more importantly, that bully. So that's where we switched it around a little bit and we dealt with that bully. Next, we began a 3-part series, in-depth details of measures to stop workplace bullying. Next, the micromanager. We followed up with Henny Penny. That's right, just like it says, Henny Penny. We wanted to deal with that manager who's always seems like they're putting out fires, creating fires, putting out fires. Next, we talked about employee empowerment. Very important, very needed. Then we actually did a 4-part series because we wanted to make sure we encompassed all the generations that are still within the workforce. So we began with Gen Z, then we went on to the millennials, Generation X, and followed up with the baby boomers. So if you're wondering how to work with individuals from different generations, you might want to take a look at that 4-part series. Great information that I provided from other researchers as well as my statistical results. Then we talked about workplace bullying in relation to narcissism. We followed up with leader narcissism and the organizational culture, how they relate. And finally, with that series, we ended it with organizational culture and workplace bullying. Next, we did another live YouTube podcast. This time our guest was Miss Kamei. Now, Miss Kamei is a representative of the NWBC. She is the bill director for Nevada. They are working together with other bill directors to ensure DAWA is put in place. We followed that up with workplace bullying on the rise. This episode was possible because of the Workplace Bullying Institute. Their research was finally out, and so we had been waiting with bated breath because we knew, we saw, we heard that workplace bullying was on the rise. Well, they had the evidence to show where in 2017 there was over 60 million American employees affected by workplace bullying. And then as of January of 2021, due to the Workplace Bullying Institute, we were able to see that it increased to almost 80 million employees, American employees. Next, we went on to a 3-part series. We were getting a lot of inquiries in when should I resign, quit, and so we wanted to dig a little deeper into that. First episode was, should I quit my job? That was followed by reasons we should quit our job. And then we ended it with, don't quit your job yet. So we wanted to give you all some very good advice from the research we did on what to do in the face of workplace bullying and to not just quit. This concludes our collection of workplace bullying episodes. I want you to stay connected by subscribing. And don't forget to like. Subscribing will allow for the provision of notification of new content. Thank you for tuning in and have a great work week.